Hey guys, Big Jonas here. It is August 15th. We are just a couple minutes after our weekly closing candle. And let's face it, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have started our fifth week, and the previous four were all green bullish candles. Amazing price action in Bitcoin. How much time was spent with Bitcoin being near or around $30,000, almost 2 months. And then, like a rocket ship, we just shoot through all the resistance that held us down in the mid to high 30s. And then once we were able to achieve 40K, it was like, all right, we're going higher. Now, what has happened is kind of interesting because we have a situation here where the bears have been so confident and so in control of their positions ever since the breakdown from, let's face it, there were two breakdowns from the $60,000 area. The current topping pattern at 64K, and then the backtest lower high that got just to a hair under $60,000. So there's a lot of leverage shorts in there and a lot of overall short conditions that basically have been able to take out of this position. And now they are being pushed, they are being stressed, they are being squeezed, while Bitcoin just tranches higher on decent volume, let's face it, and filling a lot of these candles and a lot of the volume that displaced them in early May of this year. Now, we can talk about oscillators and indicators, we can talk about moving averages, and we definitely will, Bollinger Bands, whatever have you here. But this is the weekly chart, and what we basically see here is literally straight up long year longs from March of 2020 till March of 2021. A full year, basically, of buy the dip, buy every dip, and being rewarded for it. Until that finally ended, and we had this consolidation period of a 50% cut in Bitcoin's price, and a maintaining of that price of almost down 40-50% in Bitcoin, and significantly larger in a lot of altcoins, as we are aware of. So here's the bounce, right? Here's the bounce. Now the big question is, okay, is this a bounce? Is it a dead cat bounce? We've heard about the dead cat bounce numerous times. We've heard about the mean reversion, where there's a price of Bitcoin. We go up, we go a little too far ahead of our skis. We come back down, we have to adjust, we have to correct. And that's what these 4 weeks represent as possible as well. Now through math and through time and through price, we're able to derive certain interesting oscillators and indicators. So let's scan through all of them, at least the ones that are most important to me. So our Bollinger Bands, I always like to look at Bollinger Bands on a linear scale rather than logarithmic. We have a couple of interesting points here. I am on a standard deviation of 2, yes. So double tap of the lower Bollinger, initial resistance of the middle Bollinger, closing candle above the middle Bollinger, which puts the upper Bollinger at $60,000 potentially in play. And we do establish that because the 20 period average is now acting as support. But we have to note a couple things here. Our breadth, our width of our Bollinger Bands is quite wide still. I mean, if you literally look at the width here all the way up and the consolidation, 50% drop, and then where we are now, it's the same width. The contraction hasn't barely happened yet, which gives us a wide breadth of price action potential, while still falling into resistance and support zones, which allows price action, which will continue to fall. We do see our upper Bollinger Band continuing to have a downward angle. So next week's price will be, 58, 57. But now that we're above our middle Bollinger on our weekly candle, $42,000-ish is now very interesting support. But because we are so wide here, this tells me we have months, we have quarters, we have years to digest really this move in Bitcoin price action, this tremendous move in Bitcoin price action. I would, analyze the 2017-18 bear market, right? And look at these Bollinger Bands and see, oh my God, they're so huge. It'll take forever to consolidate, to tighten. And it did take a while. It took all of 18. There was our tightening, our bearish breakdown. There was our tightening, our bullish breakout. And then we had this period of pretty much stability. This is a decent highway here, right? Here's the guardrail. Here's our center lane. Here's the other guardrail. Support, resistance. And then boom, the 20 period, the middle Bollinger held that support, and on we went. Now currently holding that support, I have to have that bullish lean because of that on the weekly. I want to look at EMA 12 and 26. Okay, what made this bearish move different than all the rest was because we lost support here for the very first time. EMA 12 weekly chart. We had not lost that support since way back here. We then lost our support for our EMA 26 again. Since our bullish massive breakout, we had not lost our 26 since April 20th. So this was a significant move here. And you actually can see that we actually did have our first official bear cross of our weekly in over a year. But now we've regained our bullish cross and support above both of our EMAs, 12 and 26, which again puts that support in the low 40Ks. Maintaining this support and maintaining this bullish cross is essential. Now this does change the overall parabolic structure of our spread. And do recall that we were in this pattern of a bearish cross, a bullish cross, a bearish cross, a bullish cross, right? So this daisy chaining can give us very whipsaw reaction and quite a large range of price action as well. Keep an eye on the spread. This wasn't that far apart. This was a little too far apart. A little too bullish over here. A little too bullish over here. And now we're trying to just find an equilibrium here. And that's kind of the next thing I want to talk about is equilibrium before we get into some of our other moving averages and indicators and oscillators. Just to keep it really clean, we have a high and we have a low. So now we have a range. And over the next weeks and months, right, we're going to probably be testing this range. Maybe we can get up to 60K again. Maybe we only get up to, 49, 50, 51, maybe, and establish a lower high. If you look at our previous resistance here, we've already surpassed it. To go to log scale, we've already surpassed it too, so that's official. But maybe we're doing something much, much more broader of resistance and much more broader of support. And over the next several weeks and months, wouldn't this be the most ideal pattern for Bitcoin? More consolidation, money flowing into the whole industry, crypto itself. Altcoin valuations rise while Bitcoin stabilizes, allows institutional investment to get comfortable holding because of a little more stability factor. A consolidation situation here where we can actually rise higher. So we're establishing on a higher time frame. Notice people have always focused on the weekly time frame in this video because we have to keep a clear head. Trading is one thing. Weekly charts, you're scalping, you're doing 100x, 50x, it's fine. But do it on small time frames. This is the big picture stuff. This is where Bitcoin's potential can go. And the argument about if we are in a just consolidation period before we're able to break a much higher. Okay. Remember, we've already established a high at 60K and 50K. We have buyers and sellers up here. Okay, but we're still under $50,000. Is there a market for Bitcoin right now to add to their positions over 50K? We're only $3,000, $2,000 away from it. All right. The arbitrariness of the number 50K is of itself true, but it's the human nature. It's the herds. Wow, 50K, Bitcoin's over 50K. The headline factor of that will be notable if the bulls can push us above 50K. And can that be the next, push of that retail market that can bring us closer? I'm actually going to switch to a different chart here. And let's do this. Oh, BlackBerry. I remember you. There we go. There we go. So, get rid of that and start here. And the reason I did this is because I wanted to put up our triple moving averages of our 50, 100, and 200 on the daily. You got a good perspective here. Let me get out of log for a second. There we go. That's better. All right, so a couple of things are happening here. Regain MA200 support. Boom, 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 boom. Great. We currently have a bullish cross here of our 50 through our 100 happening in the next day or so. Great. Like that a lot too. We have the wrong lineup, though, of our moving averages. Brown over blue over red. 50 over 100 over 200. Okay. We don't have that yet. Sorry. Apologies. That wasn't work out there. So we are focusing on that, and we are focusing on the supports that the 200 is creating. Now, you may say, okay, well, look at that. We found support above the MA200. That's great. But I can show you history, right? Bitcoin has a lot of history now. You go over a decade. Let's go back to this area here. When we had our bear crosses and our death crosses, okay, in our 2018 bear market, the MA200 acted as resistance the entire time. 2014, sorry, in 2020, when we were able to test that a couple times, we were able to regain MA200 support here and here. So regaining MA200 support is great. That's important. But what's more important is to have the proper spread of our 50, 100, and 200 that creates trend and parabola, right? Trend and parabola. Literally, once we were over, this area here, the spread was happening, the fan out. This was your just YOLO in right here. We are ways away. We are weeks, months away from that potentiality. And there's going to be consolidation. Bitcoin is up 60% from the lows in a matter of weeks. The market has to digest that, which isn't bearish or bullish. It's just proper. Fibonacci, swing high, swing low. So we're holding support now above our 50%. Remember, the 382 was significant resistance all through June and early July. We regained it. Sorry, the 236 was, hold on, yeah. We resisted off it, found support on the 236 to the penny. And once we were able to get over the 382, the next stop was the 50%, which leave the golden pocket still between $51,000 and $52,000. Maybe that's the last FOMO pump. People waiting to buy if it breaks 50 again, potentially. Or the real not more important, but really the last hurrah of Fibonacci's before we're going to hit that top here again is the 7.8 to 8.4, historically speaking. And all that does is close all these gaps, fill all these kind of volume gaps, if you will, of easy shorts and comfortable shorts all through down here. To fill that up, to break, but still have that bearish intent, because until we were able to break equilibrium on the upside, higher high, then we're not going to be able to change the overall market structure. And that's meaningful. Let's look at a few more indicators here. That's the daily, right? There we go. So, from a weekly TD standpoint, we actually have some running room. The daily, we actually did hit the 9 there at the top as well. It's interesting. Had a 9 here too with a follow through. So basically a double 9 here of bullishness. I mean, at this point, it's all about risk versus reward, right? But the weekly potentially says we have through the end of August into September for another, at least minimum upside push. Bollinger Band 3. Let's go. Actually, I want to go back to my other one. Yes. cloud. So a couple interesting cloud. I have a different settings than the default 2061 2030. We are holding 10 consent support. Well, I wouldn't say we're holding because we just literally opened up this candle here. But let's say we resisted right at, or I guess slightly above. I guess we closed above it. All right, I'll give the bulls this one here. Closed above 10 consent support. Cloud support is basically over 40K. But it takes us out for, weeks or months. Daily is a little different. I like the fact that we're able to get above our cloud resistance after hitting resistance on it to the penny. And now it's support and clear above. So the daily actually looks pretty good in the cloud, and is the weekly as well. Monthly, not enough. Actually, you know what? I can get more on stamp. Yeah, I mean, tickets and kaijins and support. I mean, it's really all you have to know. Weekly tickets and support. Kaijin, 36. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I do still feel we're kind of revisit 36, 38, into the next couple months. This would be a perfect area here for some sort of consolidation and a bounce off of support, right? Like that I could see, we just strong strength and to close out the year while maintaining this cloud support area all the way through the end. I want to look at some oscillators. I'll stick with Bitstamp here. On balance volume, it's good. It's good. There's the retrace, there's the pullback, there's the buy up. We're basically where we expect we should be. It's good. Chalk and money flow is weak. We're still in the positive, right? But I mean, that's money flow. That's money flow. This ain't money flow. It's weak, but it's positive. RSI, not that strong. This is a very big bounce. Bitcoin bounces 60%, 42.59. I mean, it's weak, but we have running room. Okay, so maybe we can look consolidation here, and continuation could be possible. But yeah, I mean, let's get over like 62, 63, at least in the RSI there. Stoke, this is where we basically would be setting the lower high if we roll over here on this week's price action. MACD, so listen, bullish week, bullish cross. We're in here, this low area here. But again, this is all ranges and more of a, I can see consolidation. Maybe go a little higher, right, if the bulls have a little more. But we're all just establishing a very similar pattern of an equilibrium and setting up a run that could take us out for months here. Still pretty bearish here on our squeeze momentum. We got weeks here until we can put in something more bullish here. But I do like, we're climbing. But yeah, it's interesting. It's such a huge move in Bitcoin, but some of the bigger oscillators are actually not as strong as I would have expected. I just want to look at a couple things very quickly here. Bitcoin dominance. Okay, if you want to know about altcoins, all you got to look at is Bitcoin dominance. I mean, this is it. Okay, and we saw money. This just tells you here. Bitcoin's within $1,000 of where it was a week ago, more or less, maybe a few thousand. Okay, and a ton of money just went into altcoins over the last week. This is what this massive, nasty red candle represents here. Okay, so you could see one or two things happen this week. You could see a little bit of a correction here, and potentially we test the previous week's lows as resistance here, right? Which would mean more consolidation this week. Like basically you could see kind of a bleed out and a lot of profit taking on some of the alts that have run really hard, and Bitcoin more or less holding with a slight lean to the bearish side, and that would basically constitute a bullish dominance candle, getting back to at least the mid 40 or upper 40 47s there. A lot of altcoins are looking good. Overall, the only thing about Ethereum that I'll just, real quick, is really all I need to look at here is just the fib, right? And we're getting very close to the golden pocket. And this is where, if we can get up here, that it fulfills a lot of this candle, this just fall off a cliff candle here. And this is really where the battle is for the lower high, which is about to be established probably this week into next week. Keep an eye on overall equity markets. We are still at S&P, right? More or less within a 0.5% of all-time highs. The tech industry, the Qs, all-time highs. Apple just breaking out to that last push there. Very similar to Bitcoin, right? Remember Bitcoin, 1, 2, 3 peaks here. This last peak, lower high, and then fall off a cliff. Very similar here. So we're starting our week next week with equity markets still at all-time highs. Bitcoin closing in on 50K. But until we're able to test more higher areas and progress over the next few weeks, we are still just establishing an overall lower high. And consolidation can take us well into the fall before something more meaningful happens. There's a lot of money in crypto still. Looks like we're back over $2 trillion. So we have almost $900 billion of new wealth created in crypto. Once again, in what, 3.5 weeks? Pretty incredible. There's still a lot of money in this here. Money's moving around just like the stock market. So be smart. Think about higher time frames. There's plenty of opportunities, obviously, on lower time frames, scalping, trading, whatever. But overall here, crypto this week is a very interesting week, very pivotal week. If Bitcoin can break the $50,000 threshold, I think psychologically it will show that people are long and strong and willing to buy every dip. But a meaningful major correction will be notable and probably even healthy in the overall market. It's Big Chonas here. It's great talking to you guys again. I'm still around. I'm still watching. Please hit thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube. We'll talk soon. Have a great night. Stay safe.